Yeah, it's interesting. It's my third year. It's the first time I've been able to do this in person, which has been very nice. And as a reflection of the times, of course, we have all of our folks joining us online as well today, and so welcome to everyone. Um, it's been a pretty remarkable year, delivering on all the promises we started to make at the end of at our AGM last year and in our strategy launch, which happened in August 2021. Before I go any further, though, I really have to take a moment and just thank some of those who made all this possible. First of all, the staff who have doubled in size since I joined in July 2020. Their commitment, dedication, and skill that they bring to every challenge and weird sort of angle I throw at them during the year has been really at the heart of everything we've done and the successes that we've had. So cannot say enough good things about all of them. And we must also, once again, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the expertise and generosity of the volunteer board that guides us through our new strategy and through all of the transition and development that we've had over the last years. So thank you. Um, what you'll also see throughout the presentation we'll see today is the increasing level of support we've had from the Victorian government. The collaborative relationship we have continues to grow and strengthen, and I think that's really based on a shared vision and desire to really truly strengthen the ecosystem here in Victoria. Together, we've gone outside the box to think big, to try new approaches, and to take some risks together. A very special thanks to the incredibly committed and hardworking people within the Victorian government that we just have the absolute pleasure to work with day to day. And I mean that sincerely. So, and last but by no means least, thank you to all of those people in this room and online and people who may see this later. It is the ecosystem that comes together around the 8 or 10 of us in BioMelbourne network that makes all of what we do possible. Without it, we wouldn't have the events. We aren't. We leverage off the great information and your generosity to make all this happen. And of course, to organizations like KPMG who open their doors to us for our events and activities. Um, Ask anybody outside of the Victorian ecosystem about how special and collaborative it is here in Victoria, and they'll all agree that we have something special here, and I have to concur. So um, last year in August 2021, we launched our new 3-year strategy, outlining the commitments we made to you regarding the delivery of an increased value proposition to the ecosystem. Today, I'll provide some insights into what we've accomplished over the past year and opportunities contained within the one that lies ahead of us. Today's strategy will quickly update a range of initiatives, helping you to understand more about the network, our place in the ecosystem, and the work we do on your behalf. But we're obligated to provide you more than one update a year and skim through the subjects. You can't engage with activities and opportunities unless you know about them. So we continue to develop new means to allow you to stay informed and to keep up to date with what we're doing on your behalf. We provide real-time updates and initiatives throughout the year through our In the Loop every couple of weeks. And given the ever-increasing scope of work we're engaged with, that level of communication is not sufficient to keep everybody informed and engaged. So we've also developed an insider report. That insider report is maintained on the website. It includes greater details, not just on the things we're going to talk about today, but additional elements that we've been working on. So you can go in there at any time and read more. And if you're interested, you can reach out and get involved. Our annual digital report also has active links, which includes connections to more detailed events, et cetera, into our insider report. So we've tried to make it interactive for you to pretty easily navigate to the things to you. Now with our new Willem platform launched, we're starting to have another tool in the toolbox to help stay informed and connected, and you can do that now in ways that are really tailored to your own needs. The BioMelbourne Network has 5 key strategies. We'll be reporting about these strategies in 3 groups. The first is consisting of the first 3 strategic elements are related to data and insights, identifying opportunities, and advocacy. And these very often interrelated. So we kind of bundle those together. The fourth strategic element, of course, is health tech industry development. And the final one is shameless sector promotion. We'll begin with the first section on data insights, opportunities, and advocacy. So what you've got here is a list of 11 key initiatives we're presenting today about across these various areas. And these, as we've said, may start with data and insights, but often move quickly to identifying opportunities and setting up working groups or participating in working groups and moving into advocacy. I highlight some of these today, but again, you'll find more information on all of these in the Insider Report. So first, we have continued our close collaboration with the Australian MedTech Manufacturing Centre, or AMMC, AMIC. Through this, we're supporting them to deliver on their three strategic priorities: grow local content in health procurement, build the competitive capability of Victorian medtech manufacturers, and strengthen the connections and collaborations across the sector. Through the support of AMIC and the Department of Jobs, Precincts, and Regions, we received seed funding for the Willem Life Sciences Industry Community, which again launched on November 2nd. As part of the Victorian Health and Medical Research Strategy 2022-32, the Clinical Trials Action Plan has been established to lead reform for the clinical trials in Victoria. The action plan will help develop forward-thinking roadmap of priorities, which will implement commitments from the Health and Medical Research Strategy. This will assist in securing Victoria's position as a world leader in clinical research, and we are a participating member of the Clinical Trials Action Plan Steering Committee. We also participated in the development of Research Australia's National Health and Medical Research Strategy for 2022, delivered in advance of this year's federal election. In June, the Department of Jobs, Precincts, and Regions invited BioMelbourne Network to join an industry reference group to help contribute to discussions in developing options for the GSK Boronia site redevelopment. BioMelbourne Network joined with 17 institutions resident in Parkville Biomedical Precinct to advocate for the redevelopment and reform of the infamous Haymarket Roundabout, or what we lovingly call Research Frogger, if you're familiar with that name, that game, on Flemington Road. Victorian government has officially advised us now that 1.5 million has been allocated to support the design development for pedestrian and cycling improvements to that roundabout to make it easier and safer to move around Parkville. So that's really looking at the design of what the feasible possibilities, and then going on from there. We've also participated in an advisory capacity to Monash Institute of Medical Engineering and to Swinburne University's MedTech Vic related to commercialization of research and technology. BioMelbourne Network was also a proud sponsor of this year's Governor Victoria Export Awards for the International Health category, recognizing and celebrating excellence and success of Victoria's best exporters. The next section we'll review is on health tech industry development. Health tech industry development delivers initiatives which improve, strengthen, and enhance the industry, the health tech industry, often informed by our work in the first three sectors or strategies. Within this strategy lies our entire events platform, initiatives related to digital transformation, filling gaps identified in training and ecosystem within the ecosystem, and maintaining collaborative industry associations, relationships, with industry associations across the state and throughout the country. Our work with MedTech Vic has delivered 8 Future Map workshops to over 80 companies, assessing their readiness to integrate continuous improvement and Industry 4.0 into their operations and their product offerings. We are preparing 2 additional workshops with companies in the new year to introduce them to continuous improvement in more detail and to help develop a community of practice around continuous improvement for the industry, for manufacturing, and we are building that community of practice early. Our events program is going strong with a record number of attendees at our hybrid or entirely online series of events. This year, attendance is up 60% with out-of-state and international participation growing with the events program available now on. This increase, we feel, is certainly a reflection of the strength and quality of the events program, while in-person and networking events are certainly back in full, which is welcome. You can also see the events program is balanced across a wide range of subjects. To help ensure we're meeting the demand of the broad spectrum of interests within our community. We often get ideas from members and others in the community who are eager to raise awareness of issues or talk about challenges they're facing. Um, that's where a lot of our event ideas come from. Don't hesitate to reach out and say, this is something that's important to us. That's a great way to get involved as well. Our membership has grown 5% again year on year. That's 2 years running. And as you'll see from our In the Loop newsletter, we continue to attract new members, large and small. I think one of the things that I think is surprising to a lot of folks is that almost 30% of our members are service providers, CROs and design companies and logistics companies and others. Um, and over the past year, we've seen that growth, that 5% growth spread equally across all the various membership types, from entrepreneur to corporate members as well. Um, as we evolve and expand our value proposition, we'll continue to broaden our outreach through greater coordination with the various governments, departments within the Victorian government, industry-wide collaboration, more and more direct outreach and support to research and STEM communities, increasing outreach and support to the growing Victorian health tech industry startup ecosystem, support for Victorian manufacturers, very specifically, right? Right, Shelley? Yes. And also service providers, and increasing support for universities. So let's discuss Willem, which launched November 2nd, 2022. Willem is the first element of BioMelbourne Network's digital transformation. I'd like to start by showing you this video, which helps explain the platform. If you haven't seen it, then we can discuss how we came to develop the community as you see it today, a little bit about the priorities we have in moving it forward, and where we see it developing over the coming year. So with that,
Australia's life sciences industry has a new home. One place that brings us all together. Willem.
Willem is the new digital community platform where you and your organization can find and be found. A place to start a discussion, to share your knowledge.
Connect with your industry. Search for businesses.
And we're inviting you to join us.
Willem offers a living database of peers and potential partners, an introduction to relevant people and organisations, a network to support ideas and encourage success.
Willem is for individuals, organizations, startups to global enterprises.
For manufacturers, universities, researchers and the service sector.
Together, let's build something remarkable. Together, let's reimagine engagement.
If your industry is life sciences, your home is Willem.
And thank you, Megan, once again. She's been doing quite a number of things for us this year.
Australia's...
Uh-oh, there we go. Oh. So Willem developed out of the need of the ecosystem to network and connect in new ways. So connectivity and communications within the life sciences sector in Australia is very, very siloed and fairly dysfunctional. We're physically divided by state, yet there's not a single organization that operates within only a state border. They all operate internationally and throughout the various states. So we struggle to find the resources we need, and we have no forum to ask questions or share ideas. The technology is available to do that, and to recommend, a local plumber on Facebook in your neighborhood, and you can find one in 5 minutes, right? But you can't easily find that researcher or service provider or manufacturer in your industry right down the road. So we're all active on LinkedIn, but you can't leverage it to develop state or national capability maps, hold conversations around subjects. It's become really more of a broadcast platform. We recognize the need to coordinate and collaborate across the state throughout the country in new ways, the need to unify the life sciences industry throughout Australia, and that leads us to reimagining engagement in the sector, and that's what Willem is all about. So while BioMelbourne Network remains a state-based, not-for-profit organization, our vision is to help create a more unified and interconnected life sciences sector. It's what our ecosystem needs. It's what everybody's been asking for, and the vision is the driving force behind the development of this sort of world-class digital platform that reinvents engagement in life sciences across Australia, and that's what Willem is. It's been built on a globally recognized and widely utilized platform. We did not write the code behind Willem. I get asked that quite a bit. we've simply personalized it to meet the needs of our community. The current focus is really bringing on the ecosystem on board. We've got 6,000, nearly 6,500 registrations within the system. If you're on in this meeting at all, you will have an account. It would have gone out a couple of weeks ago on a Wednesday about 11 o'clock. And if you want to go in and activate your account, you can just reset your password and then check your spam and your inbox, because most people's it ends up going in there if you're not careful. Um, you can have conversations in Willem like you might have at a conference. You discuss relevant issues, find like-minded people in the ecosystem to collaborate with, or find that service or manufacturing resource that you've been looking for. It's town square, and unlike LinkedIn, we own the back end, so it's our own living ecosystem capabilities map. As we get researchers and service providers and manufacturers and others into this, we'll be able to know who they are. We'll be able to find them. We'll be able to report to the government. We'll be able to communicate with them in new ways. As an example, I recently came back from our trade mission in Singapore. And when I was there, I met a company looking to connect into the local ecosystem to find a very specific list of collaboration partners. So he wrote me a list of those things. We posted it up on Willem. And within 48 hours, we had a company that I would never thought had all those connections connected up with them, and they're now talking about how to bring that company from Singapore into the ecosystem here. That's they found their plumber on Facebook, right? So that just shows you some of the potential. And so it's not about whether that's specific for you, but what could you do if you're sitting in front of the entire ecosystem? What kind of questions would you have? What kind of resources are you looking for? Next steps are rolling out a series of metadata questions you can answer about yourself and your company, so you can more easily find the types of services or people that you're looking for. We need you to also spread the word yourselves, because the more people we get in, the more collaborative it is, the better it is for all of us. Tell the researchers you work with, get them in so they can network together as well. The platform is by industry for industry. The Victorian government understands the need and had a vision to get this started for us. And we're also currently negotiating with key industry partners who will support that long-term funding of the program. It's very much an industry-driven, industry-focused, and initiative. Over the coming months, we're working to bring other state and national bodies into Willem as well. That's why we chose the platform independent name and new logo, is so that any state and national body can come in and set up shop and feel comfortable there. It's not coming into the BioMelbourne network ecosystem. This means when you go on and follow those groups, their calendars, their information, their questions get fed into your central information feed. Finally, you'll have a place where you can go and see all the relevant ecosystem events that are happening, and you'll be able to see them and then drop them into your calendar. Feel free to reach out to myself or my staff with any questions you have or challenges getting started, including Jessica Balk, who's just over there, and Duncan, who's our community engagement lead. The second element of our digital transformation is our learning lab. And as you know, since the beginning of the pandemic, we've all of our events have either been entirely online or hybrid. So we've got over 50 events now recorded, and this new initiative is going to be a library of all of those events. And it's not just a library with a catalog. You can actually go on and search the library for topics and keywords. The events will be available as videos, transcripts, and downloadable as podcasts. You can find the events that cover the subjects and go directly to the timestamp within that video, so you can just see the information you want to see. The platform won't be just some of the events will be free to watch, other will be pay per view. You can purchase one by one, subscribe to the platform, or your company can buy a bundle of those to share out to others when you're doing product development, or you're looking for clients overseas and helping them raise awareness of what our ecosystem has to offer. So this means our ecosystem will have the largest online library in Australia of life sciences related translation, commercialization, and ecosystem information. And we believe this will be an important resource for startups And through them, you can help, again, expose your international clients to the Victorian ecosystem. And it'll also serve as a living memory of what we've what we've got here. We're targeting taking the system live in Q1 of 2023. So watch our In the Loop and monitor Willem for more information in the coming months. And finally, let's cover off on some of the shameless sector promotion strategy. Um, Fundamental changes have come around to the pandemic, many of which have been permanently shifted how global ecosystems operate. The strategy aims to help leverage BioMelbourne network to address some of those challenges faced in the promotion of and connecting with our ecosystem. I'll briefly outline some of the activities underway or under development to support the ecosystem reaching out and connecting, more available again through our insider report. So we are collaborating with the Victorian Global Victoria Trade Alliance on an entirely services-based trade mission with Singapore, with a special focus on medtech. The virtual trade mission started uh, with. I've lost my spot. Hold on a second. There we go. Uh, the the global trade mission was shaped to support our vibrant and globally competitive services sector, connecting them to build a long-term relationship between the two ecosystems. So not just a one-week um, uh, quick visit. We held two informational sessions to help understand the ecosystem in advance of our visit to Singapore. And in Singapore, we partnered with InvestVic at their booth, and I led a panel discussion on the strengths of the Victorian ecosystem. You can go on and watch those ecosystem overviews. They're available free online on our website through our Singapore Trade Mission link. Um, and we do have one final virtual event to be held on November 30th, again showcasing some of our Victorian services capabilities up into the Singapore Asia Pacific region. We also established a community within Willem where that services trade mission and the companies involved both here and in Singapore and Asia Pacific can actually come together and find each other, much as this recent example of the Singaporean company coming down to connect up and find resources. So over the course of 2022, Global Victoria Trade Alliance also funded BioMelbourne Network to record an entire podcast series, and we shot a video for them to use at conferences, um, highlighting the strengths of our ecosystem into overseas markets to help improve trade and into the Victorian health tech industry. Across a series, we covered regenerative medicine, oncology, infectious disease, neuroscience, cardio, clinical trials, and genomics. The Victorian government has said that those will be released finally just after this the blackout period they're experiencing right now. So just after the election. Once again, a special tip of the hat to Megan Robertson, who was our podcast host in the series. She's been absolutely amazing, and she makes a great podcast host. So, in the end, the strength of the network is only, once again, good as the ecosystem and organizations that it represents and their participation. Maintaining a strong ecosystem entails, requires participation and engagement. It is not a spectator sport.